Your day is not work. It is Slack ping pong. Someone drops quick question with zero context. You guess, they clarify, you ask one thing back, and suddenly one question triggers 5 more threads. While you wait, you half start the task, half rung. Deadlines do not explode. They quietly slip because nobody can tell what is actually being asked. This is not a communication problem. It is a broken intake system. Moving to slide 2. Treat intake like a product you maintain, not a favor you do. Every request that hits you should become structured data, the same way, every time. That means the request enters one consistent flow, gets tagged, routed, and answered with a clear output. Not, sure, I will take a look. A defined deliverable with an owner and a due date. Start by deciding what the intake object is for your team. A ticket, a task, a card, whatever. Then define the fields that turn chaos into a workable order. What is the goal? Who is it for? When is it due? What decision will this enable? What links or assets exist already? If a request cannot fill the fields, it is not ready, and it stays in a holding state. When you do this, interrupts drop. People stop chasing you in chat because the system answers, it is logged, it is assigned, here is the status. Handoffs get faster because downstream teams receive complete inputs, not vibes. You stop being the human router and become the builder of a reliable front door. Moving to slide 3. Now pick your entry doors on purpose. You do not need 10 ways to ask for work. You need a few that match real life and all land in the same pipeline. Email. Set up a forward rule so specific subjects or senders become tickets automatically. Slack. Use a simple command or shortcut that asks the intake fields and creates the ticket without a back and forth. Externals. Give them a web form that captures the same fields so your team is not translating messy emails. Sales or account teams. If they live in a CRM, let them create a ticket from there, but still enforce your intake fields. The key is a single ID for every request. One number or link that ties Slack, email, docs, and status updates together. When everything points to the same ID, the noise stops and the work becomes trackable. Moving to slide 4. Define request types before you define rules. Keep it tight. Aim for 6 categories or fewer, because if people cannot remember them, they will pick random ones and you are back to chaos. For each category, assign one owner, not a team, a person accountable for triage. Then define the known outputs for that type. A bug report ends in a fix or a documented deferral. A content request ends in a draft, review, publish. A data request ends in a dashboard link or a written answer. Boundaries matter. Write down what does not belong in each category and where it should go instead, and make escalation explicit. If a request is urgent, what qualifies as urgent, who can label it that way, and who gets paged. When types, owners, and outputs are clear, ambiguity has fewer places to hide. People ask better, and you stop inheriting everyone else's uncertainty. Moving to slide 5. Ask for the minimum that prevents rework, not the maximum that scares people away. Your intake should pull just enough to start correctly. Require a goal in one sentence. Who is the audience or stakeholder? A real deadline or no deadline? A success metric or a decision this will unlock, like approve the launch copy or choose option A versus B. List constraints and must-haves like legal language, brand rules, budget, or tooling. Capture current state with links, screenshots, docs, or prior threads so nobody is hunting. And ask for the preferred format and length, like 1 slide, 2 paragraphs, or API response. If any of those are missing, you do not guess, you bounce it back automatically with a short checklist. That one habit removes the endless clarifying pings and forces requests to arrive shaped like work. Moving to slide 6. If your intake form has open-ended prompts, you are inviting vague requests. Replace free text with choices whenever you can. Use ranges instead of exact numbers. Offer 3 example answers to anchor what good looks like. Auto-suggest from past requests so people can click instead of think. And validate fields before submit, so missing basics never reach your team. The fastest way to improve outcomes
is to stop asking people to invent the format.
Moving to slide 7. Progressive disclosure means you start small, then earn the right to ask more. Begin with 3 fields that let you route the request immediately, like request type, urgency, and desired outcome. Once the person picks a category, unlock only the questions that matter for that path. If it is bug report, show environment and steps to reproduce. If it is new dashboard, show data sources and success metric.
Everything else stays hidden. Ask one thing at a time.
When you stack 5 questions in one block, people skim, guess, and abandon. Keep each step short with clear defaults and let them move forward without feeling trapped. If a section is irrelevant, remove it entirely, not just optional. Optional still feels like work. Done right, you cut form abandonment, and you also improve signal quality because each question is contextual, not generic. You are building a conversation that narrows ambiguity before it reaches a human, which is exactly where an assistant can clean things up. Moving to slide 8. Treat AI like a clarifier, not a magic box. When someone submits a request, have the AI restate it in plain terms, what you want done, for whom, and by when. Then it checks for missing required details based on your schema. If it is missing a deadline, it asks for a date range. If it is missing a target audience, it offers selectable personas. Keep follow-ups high impact, 1 or 2 questions that change the outcome, not a long interview. Then the AI rewrites the request into your structured fields and confirms back, here is what I captured. Is this correct? That confirmation step turns guesswork into agreement, which is how you prevent downstream rework. Moving to slide 9. Even with a good form and a clarifier, you need gates. Give every request a confidence score for completeness and clarity. If the score is low, it cannot proceed until the gaps are filled. The system asks follow-up questions, or routes it back to the requester with a checklist. If the score is medium, send it to triage, not execution. Triage can resolve ambiguity, merge duplicates, or downgrade urgency. If the score is high, it goes straight to execution with minimal human touch. Log why the score was downgraded. Not for blame, but so you can fix the intake. If missing acceptance criteria keeps showing up, add that field earlier. Gates keep your team from thrashing, and they make quality predictable. Moving to slide 10. Once the request is clean, route it to the right owner automatically. Map each category to an assignee group, like data, design, engineering, or ops. Then make assignment workload aware so the next ticket goes to someone with capacity, not just a static name. Apply SLAs by request type. A production incident gets minutes, a content update gets days, and a new feature gets a planned window. Notify only the people involved so your channel does not become background noise. Finally, create the ticket with full context. Include the structured fields, the AI summary, the clarifying Q&A, and the confidence score with reasons. When the owner opens it, they should be able to start, not interpret. That is how you turn intake into execution you can trust. Moving to slide 11. Approval logic to be designed into the request, not stapled on after something goes sideways. Start by turning your messy, informal rules into automatic gates. If the budget crosses a threshold, the form routes to a named approver. No named approver, no submission. If the work touches brand risk, like public statements, claims, or partner logos, it triggers a lightweight brand review, not a debate in DMs. If legal is in play, the request must attach the checklist, with every required field completed before anyone can pick it up. For decision-heavy work, like changing positioning or redefining scope, require a sponsor. One person who can say yes, say no, and own the consequences. Otherwise, you get a committee that never closes the loop. Then make the rule that protects your team. No approval, no work start. Not we can rough it in, not we will just explore. You can still do discovery, but the request stays in intake until the gates are cleared. That is how you prevent half-approved work from quietly becoming the plan. Moving to slide 12. Once approvals exist, capture what was actually decided. Store the final brief as a versioned document. Track changes with the reason, not just the edit. Link every output back to the original request, so you can answer, what did we build this for? Record what got rejected, so it does not come back next month as a new idea. Over time, this becomes a knowledge base that reduces rework and shortens the back and forth. Moving to slide 13. You cannot improve intake if you do not measure the churn. Start with 2 counts per request. How many clarifying messages happened before work was ready? And how long it took to reach ready for work from first submission. Then generate a simple report of the top missing fields. If target audience is blank in 40% of requests, that is not a requester problem. That is a form problem. Add examples, make the field required, or change the wording so people understand what you mean. Track category volume and seasonality too. If launches spike every quarter, plan capacity and tighten the form ahead of that wave. Once a month, fix the form. Small, regular edits beat big rewrites, and they keep the process from turning into a policy nobody wants to follow. Moving to slide 14. Roll this out without triggering a revolt. Start with 1 team and 1 request type so you can learn fast. Keep the old path as a fallback for a short window, but stop letting it be the default. Train with real examples from last month, including a bad request and a great one. Publish a 1-page guide that shows how to submit, what ready looks like, and who approves what. Then ask for comments on friction, and act on the top 2. If this helped, subscribe for more systems that cut rework, and drop a comment with the 1 approval gate your team keeps skipping. Technology changes fast. Great systems last.